At an age when most people are preparing to retire, Colonel Harland Sanders was preparing to begin again. Not because he wanted to, because life left him no other choice. He was 65 years old. His business had failed. His savings were gone. And the world had already decided what his future should look like. Quiet, small, finished. But he refused to accept that ending. Before the white suit, before the recognition, before Kentucky Fried Chicken became a global name, Harland Sanders lived a life that looked nothing like success. He didn't follow a straight career path. He worked wherever he could, as a farmhand, as a train conductor, as a salesman, as a service station operator. He tried many directions, and most of them didn't last. There was no early breakthrough, no sign that he was destined to build anything extraordinary. His life was practical, ordinary, and often unstable. But one thing quietly developed over the years. He learned how to cook, not as a chef in a famous kitchen, but as someone feeding travelers passing through a small roadside stop. Eventually, Sanders opened a small restaurant attached to a gas station in Kentucky. It wasn't glamorous, but people liked the food, especially his fried chicken. He developed a method that cooked chicken faster, while keeping flavor and texture consistent. Customers returned. Business improved. For the first time, life felt steady. Then, something changed that he could not control. A new highway was built. Traffic that once passed his restaurant disappeared almost overnight. Fewer cars meant fewer customers. Fewer customers meant the business could not survive. After years of work, it closed. He was left with almost nothing at 65, an age when starting over feels impossible. Most people assume failure happens dramatically. For Sanders, it happened quietly. No headlines, no announcements, just bills to pay, a closed restaurant, and a small Social Security check. He later said that moment forced him to ask himself a difficult question. Am I finished? Or am I still capable of trying? That question defines many turning points in life. Because continuing is rarely comfortable, and beginning again later in life requires something deeper than ambition. It requires humility. Sanders looked at what he still had. Not money, not property, not security. He had a recipe, years of refining it, years of serving it, years of believing it was good enough to matter. So, he made a decision that seemed unreasonable. He would take that recipe to restaurants across the country and ask them to use it. He wasn't selling food. He was selling trust in something he created. The journey was long. He drove from town to town, meeting restaurant owners. Many refused immediately. Some listened politely and declined. Others didn't believe customers would care. He heard no more times than most people could tolerate. Hundreds of times. Then, hundreds more. The number eventually passed 1,000 rejections. At an age when persistence becomes physically harder, he continued traveling, continuing asking, continuing trying. This was not youthful determination. It was deliberate endurance. Finally, one restaurant agreed to test his method. Just one. They prepared the chicken the way he taught them. Customers responded. Sales improved. The idea worked. That single agreement became the foundation for another, and then another. Slowly, partnerships formed, not through marketing campaigns, but through repetition and belief. What followed was not overnight success, but steady expansion. Restaurants adopted the recipe. The name Kentucky Fried Chicken began to spread. Sanders became the face of the brand, traveling, promoting, and ensuring quality. By his 70s, the business that began as a last attempt had become an international company. The man who once wondered if his working life was over had built something recognized around the world. We often associate achievement with youth, with speed, with early momentum. But Sanders demonstrated a different principle. Success is not determined by when you begin. It is determined by whether you continue. Experience, persistence, and belief can accumulate quietly for decades. Before producing visible results, what looks like a late start is often the result of preparation that nobody noticed. Many people feel pressured by time. They measure themselves against others. They assume opportunity belongs only to those who begin early. But Colonel Sanders showed that progress does not expire. It waits. And sometimes, the moment you believe it is too late is the moment you are finally ready to act with clarity. If you feel behind, remember this story. If you feel like time has passed, remember this example. And if you still have something to offer, don't decide that it's too late before you try. Continue. Because success does not ask how old you are. It asks whether you are willing to keep going.